Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Odious Soul. My name is Shannon, and this video is about how the coronavirus could potentially affect the 2020 hunting season. Yes, the coronavirus is sweeping the globe, and it's not going away anytime soon. Yes, it's only about a 2% death rate, which, isn't too worrisome. But globally, let's think about this, okay? So, if those 60 and over are more prone to getting this disease and dying from it, then obviously, even if we're younger, we want to avoid it because eventually we're going to have to come in contact with older people. So, the thing is this is not going away. It's not going away anytime soon. We don't really know if it's going to fade out once summertime comes. But even so, some areas, summer doesn't come until later. So even though the calendar, you know, summertime is here in June, there's still snow on the ground in a lot of areas. It's cooler still in a lot of areas. We don't know how this virus is going to last. We don't know if it's going to kind of piddle out for a while and then come back with a vengeance in the fall. So there's still a lot of unknowns. And what else is unknown is how it's going to affect the 2020 search season for Forrest Fenn's Treasure. This is huge. There's a lot of things to consider. We have people all over the world who come to the Rocky Mountains every summer to search for Forrest Fenn's Treasure. This is definitely going to change a lot of people's goals, especially, well, maybe not goals, but it's going to change what they're going to do this summer in regards to searching. So, first off, let's talk about travel. We already know that international travel has been highly affected. You can't go in and out of China. There's restrictions in Italy right now. And we're going to continue to see international travel restrictions as we continue this. So the question will be is can you even get from your country that you want to search from to the search area? Even if you are living in the United States, but if you normally have to fly, will you be able to fly there? Can you take a train? Even some train travel has been affected at this point. Any place where large amounts of people are in a small confined area, that is affected and will continue to be affected. So, can you safely get from your house to the search area? Yes, we have a ton of people who live in Santa Fe and in Colorado and around the Yellowstone area that can easily drive to the location. Congratulations. That's amazing. Lucky you. Don't rub it in all these people that have to go, thousands and thousands of miles away. So driving potentially could be okay, right? Well, maybe. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Um, the next thing to talk about would be supply shortages. Even if you can get to your search area, the question will be can you find supplies while you're there? All right, the supply chain has already been affected, and yes, we still have food. The grocery stores still have food. We do see little areas of panic every once in a while, and like you go in and the shelves are clear. But the good thing is a truck comes and they're resupplied, and we don't really have too much of an issue right now. The question will be is what happens by the summer? What happens if the supply chain is affected even more? Usually, remote areas are the places that are probably hurt the most. And we're not talking about just food, we're also talking about things like gas. So it wouldn't be surprising to see shortages in places like West Yellowstone, where it's a good 90 minutes to the next big city, where there's a Walmart, where there is depots for like oil and gas, to refuel your vehicles. It wouldn't be surprising to see shortages in some of the smaller towns and more remote areas. So just be prepared that if you go, you may not be able to get the things that you were looking for when you got there, and you might have to be a little more flexible on what you're willing to consume and to use. The next thing to think about is closings, okay? It is very possible for things to close. We're talking about small businesses. Small businesses will probably be the ones that are most likely to be hurt first. If a family has to go into quarantine and the family is who runs the business, they may not have anybody else who's able to come run the business for them. So it's very possible to see shortages. Corporations, depending on the severity, may also close. I mean, it usually takes a little bit more for them to close, but if they're looking at potential lawsuits from employees saying, "Hey, they made us come, and now I got coronavirus and I died," that's lawsuit potential. So there is always a threat of even corporations coming to a place where they might have to close as well. So what happens if you get to where you're going and you find out your hotel is not open, or your hotel is actually under quarantine and you can't get into it? What happens if those situations and scenarios happen? Do you have a backup plan? And I think that's one of the things that I want to stress the most during this video, is having that backup plan just in case. I know, I think we all know that there's people that are going to go search for this treasure no matter what. I mean, they go when there's snow on the ground, when they're not supposed to. They're going to go when a very major contagion is going around the globe. They're going to go no matter what, and nothing is going to stop them. But the thing for those people who do that, make sure you have a backup plan. What happens if you get sick? What happens if you get to some place and you don't have a place to stay? What happens if you get someplace and now you're stuck there for a month because all the gas stations are closed because there's no gas? Just think of those what ifs. What happens if this happens? What are you going to do? What is your plan? Where do you go from there? So be prepared for closings of businesses, gas stations, even roads. And that leads us to the next thing. Expect possible delays, okay? Quarantines can pop up anytime in any place. There's actually just been one recently in the Bronx, in New York, New York. There is a 1 mile, radius around this synagogue that has been locked down in quarantine. Now, the important thing to know is the people in the homes can't leave their homes. Any businesses or activities have to shut down there. They're not putting up roadblocks and diverting everybody to not drive through this place. It's not like you see on like the horror movies, but that's not to say that it's not going to get there. Okay, it's not to say that you're not going to come across something like that, or those things aren't going to pop up eventually. This is a possibility, people. Yes, disease is not turning people into zombies. It's not going to be as bad as, like 28 days or 28 weeks later or any of those kind of things, or even The Walking Dead. It's not that bad. But, our National Guard, our military can still have to come in and control different areas depending on what's going on. So you have to be prepared for possible delays. You might pull up to a road and you need to go through this road, and then there's National Guard standing there with guns, and you're going to have to find another road to go down. It might add 3 hours to your journey, but these are the things you have to be prepared for. Be prepared to actually be locked up on quarantine. It would not be unlikely for somebody to be in a hotel for a week and then during that time being told the whole hotel is being shut down and locked down on quarantine. And now you're stuck there for 14 days. What happens? What are you going to do if that happens? Are you prepared for that to happen? Do you have a backup plan? If you left family at home, do your kids have somebody who can watch them? So just think about that kind of stuff. Just if you're going to take the chance to go out and search, and if this virus is still heavily on the move and the prowl and, making people sick, make sure you have those backup plans ready, because anything can happen at any time. This is something that we cannot control. The governments obviously can't control it. People can't control it. Heck, China locked millions of people into quarantine and it still got out. It still hit the world with a vengeance. So be prepared. Think. Think again. Think again. Like if you have plane tickets, right now and you're holding them and you're worrying, don't, maybe wait, maybe reschedule them for a later date for now. Especially if your flights have like a no change fee, go ahead and just schedule them for maybe later, just in case. And I really just want you guys to be safe, and I want you to think about all the pros and the cons. Yes, going to find Fenn's treasure is not only fun and rewarding. If you actually find the treasure, you're going to be rich and famous. All great things, right? But take into account the severity of this virus that's going around, and ask, is it worth putting yourself at risk, depending on what's going on in those search areas. And just know that at any moment, anything can happen, and you might have to kind of change your plans up and just be ready to be flexible. So I can't wait to read some of your comments. I know some of you are going to be so critical over this video, because you always are. But I would love to hear your thoughts and how you think this is going to affect it. Is the coronavirus going to affect your search? Are you still planning on going out to search? Are you holding and waiting to see how things happen, to see if things get worse or if they get better? What are your current thoughts? And then, hey, come back to this video in a month or two and revise your thoughts, and don't be afraid to say, hey, you know what? Back in March, I thought this, but now we're in May and I think this. I would love to see how your thoughts and everything change. So, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Take care. I hope you all are well and you're all safe. And I hope, honestly, that in 3-4 months, we're all going, coronavirus, what? What was that? But in case we're not, I just hope you guys all make it out alive and safe and well, and are not too impacted by this coronavirus. Thanks and take care. Have a good one.